Okay, we've started the recording. So Nancy, if you want to tap the got it.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our grade 3 Braille lesson this evening. We are going to be working on some new things to add to the knowledge that we're already accumulating with our short form words. I know they've been calling them abbreviations, but the actual official title for these words that we've been learning, acknowledge, account, and all those are short form words. And so we're going to be learning some of the rules that have to do with that. Kristen, was there any information you wanted to give ahead of time as to where people can send to get information on things?
Yeah, so
okay.
We'll start out by saying all of these lessons, again, as a reminder, are being put up on YouTube. So if you miss part of it, or if you get a phone call and have to jump off, you can go into YouTube by Saturday. I have someone who uploads them every Saturday. It will be on there under the channel name Grade 3, the numeral 3, Braille, spelled out. And if you need that link, or if you've missed anything, you can also email braillemailbox@gmail.com. So with that, we'll let Nancy get started, and maybe at the end we'll have time for a short review.
Oh, absolutely. And okay. And also, if you have questions or need information, you can also email thesongmage@yahoo.com, thesongmage@yahoo.com. That's myself. And I'll be happy to help answer any questions you might have. Okay, additions to short form words. And these are obviously the rules of how you can use these words in your writing. Okay, so do not make addition to a short form word if the spelling or the pronunciation would be changed. And unfortunately, I don't have an example for that one.
Let me see if I do. I actually have the lesson in front of me.
Yeah, that one.
Okay, the contractions. Yeah.
For some reason. Yeah, technology's been okay. Go ahead.
The Hadley book, I'll read you what they say. So it says grade 3, like grade 2, permits additions to be made to short form words. So additions, we're talking like ed, ing, changing the tense of a verb. That's basically what we're talking. These additions cannot be made, however, if they result in alterations of spelling or pronunciation, or if they cause any confusion in the recognition of the word. All rules which regulate grade 2 also apply to grade 3 with the following exceptions. So then it goes into our base rules, but they don't really give any examples. They just say if it changes the way we pronounce or the way we spell it, then we would not make that addition. So.
Right. So that's, I mean, most of the time, if I found examples, I wrote them down. So that's why I didn't write one down, is because there wasn't one. So make sure the context is always clear. You want clarity to be absolutely, the first time you touch it, you want to know what it means. So like the contractions for be, con, con, or dis, and com may be used as second syllables. Oh, wait a minute. That's not part of this.
Yeah, that's our first rule.
And they can only be used as second syllables only if the first syllable is made using a lower sign or a one-cell initial sign, which we haven't studied one-cell initial signs yet, but like in, con. Like the word inconstant would be written in sign, con sign, ST sign, and then, oh, okay, did they outline that one there? Because,
No, not yet. They didn't, because we
okay,
haven't gotten
so
that
A
far.
and T, right? So the way that you would write it, as you know now, would be ST, A, and T. And later we'll learn other ways you can, grade 3 kind of layers on itself. So you might learn something one point, and then you'll learn something that even shortens it more when you learn a different section of grade 3. So like the word incomparable, they use this one also. IN sign, COM sign, PAR sign, BLE sign. So things like that. So in this second syllable, only if the first syllable is made using a lower sign or a one-celled initial sign. So you just have to keep that in mind. Does anybody have a question about that, or is that basically clear?
I got a hand.
Yes.
Okay. Do we have a hand?
Yes. Hold on, I'm sorry. Jeanette, you can unmute. There you go.
I don't know what you mean by this one cell initial sign. Like I get or the letter sign thing. I get the incomparable. That one makes sense to me, but a one cell letter sign, or I'm not sure what you mean.
Okay, initial sign, initial meaning the beginning of the word. Okay.
Yeah, but you said two things. Initial sign, like the IN.
And right, IN.
All right.
COM would be a one cell initial sign. CON, BE, all of those would be.
Right, but you said something about a letter sign, I thought, as well.
I don't
Or
recall
lower sign.
saying a lower
Lower.
sign.
Yeah.
Right, a lower sign, meaning the lower part of the cell. So the word, the lower, not letter. I apologize if that came out not articulately enough, but
Okay.
the lower sign of the cell is what they're talking about. All of the signs that we're discussing, the IN, COM, CON, and BE, are in the lower part of the cell. So that's
Okay.
what they're talking about.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
And can I ask a totally different question just because I'm unmuted?
Okay.
The word likewise. Did you, and I'm literally caught up the first 3 lessons because I missed the first 4 because I had other commitments.
I understand
Is
that.
it L and then a WH sign or LWWH sign?
The second way you said is correct. LWWH sign.
LWWH. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. You're welcome. Anyone else
Right.
have any more
Yes.
questions before we
Hannah.
go on? Okay.
You can unmute.
Hello. Unfortunately, I arrived just a couple minutes late. Are you on the first rule so far?
Yeah, actually, technically, yes. The first, the only part that you need to know that said before the first rule is that you can only make additions to, do not make additions to short form words if any spelling or pronunciation or recognition of the word would be changed. So you always want to make sure that your word is clear. And then, yes, we are on the first rule. The contractions for B and con and DIS and COM may be used as second syllables only if the first syllable is made using a lower sign or a one cell initial sign, and it gives words inconstant with INCONST sign ANT, and incomparable IN sign COM sign PAR sign ABLE, things like that. So does that make sense, or does that catch
Yeah,
you up to where we're at? Okay.
Yeah, I think I heard all that.
Okay.
Thank you.
You bet. You're welcome. Okay. Do we have any other hands?
Nope, you're good.
Okay. So now here we now here, this one, Kristen, goes into the last rule I have written down, or the next rule I have written down is all about spacing and lower signs, but that is
Yeah. So
not
I'll
here.
read the
Is it?
head. I'll
Okay.
read the headline
That-
text and Nancy can explain. But it says, so our second rule, any number of lower signs may be used together. It is not necessary that the first or the last sign in a group be adjacent to a letter or a sign containing dot 1 or dot 4, so those upper letters, upper dots, as is the case in grade 2 Braille. So they don't have to be connected to an upper sign. Any number of lower signs can be used together. Lower word signs, however, must not be used when they could be reasonably mistaken for punctuation signs. The example they give is a lower G and a lower H must be avoided, where it could mean either were followed by the question mark or his preceded by the opening parenthesis. So if Nancy has anything to add.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Then that's basically what I have written here too. So good.
Yeah, you were
that-
along the right track.
So I just want to make sure, since it was going on to a spacing thing, that we weren't changing subjects on me.
No, we're good.
So yeah, we'll see it when we get into spacing. We'll see how the sequences of those words. But yeah, they're very. It does shorten a lot of things in spacing when you can get into that. So yeah, all right. So does anybody have any questions on that, or?
And again, be careful with the clarity. Clarity is the number one point
Absolute.
here. If you have, say, a was and something followed by it, where it could be a quotation mark, or like they were saying with the parentheses, make sure when you're saying were that there's not another were in front after the next word.
Okay, so that's basically that. I don't even know why those, to me, that rule doesn't fit here because it's to do with short forms, but hey, what do I know? This one is going to make a lot of sense. This one's going to be probably the simplest one we're going to discuss tonight. The ing and ed forms of words ending in E, you drop the E and add the G or the D. In other words, hoping, HPE obviously is our short form for that. So we're going to drop the E, and instead of putting the ing sign, we're just going to put G. So it'll be HPG, hoping. Does it everybody get that? So who would like to tell me what they think the word acknowledged would be? How that would be written? Does anybody want to give that a try?
All right. Area code 407 ending in 768. Go ahead. There you go. You're unmuted. Oh, now you're muted.
Oh, you can hit that *6.
*6 again. All right, well. All right.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
There we
There we
go.
go.
Yep.
Oh, I know why. I'm sorry. I'm going to say ACKD.
Very good. Excellent. Excellent. So if the word does not end in E, use the ing or the ed sign. So in other words, if you have a word like, right now my brain's throwing me all the E words, the words ending in E.
If you have like looked, it'd be LKED sign, because
Correct.
if you're having look and you're making it past tense, there is no E on the end. So you would keep that LK and then just add the ing or the ed.
Right. So if it has an E, you can drop it and put the G or the D, respectively, if it's ing or ed. But if it does not have the E, you have to use the ing sign or the ed sign. Okay. Now the next rule I have goes into one cell initial signs, and they're not. Does this go into the one cell initial signs can be connected with another initial sign, or?
No, this is after we talked about the hoping.
Okay.
It says, following this rule that we just did, note that this practice is also followed in grade 2 in words such as deceive. So we have DCV for deceive, and then it's showing that grade 2 puts the DCVG. So it's pretty similar. Like they didn't list this. They didn't list this, but in my mind, I'm thinking received, receiving.
Right. Rejoice.
Yeah.
Rejoicing, rejoiced.
Declare.
Yep.
Yeah.
Declare. Yep. So
And
like I
then
said,
it's,
grade 3 just layers on top of grade 2. It expands on what you already know. That's why you have to know the rules of grade 2 very well before you get into grade 3. Now you're seeing why. Sorry, Kristen.
Oh, no, go ahead. And our last, I think this is one of our last points. If a word ends in any letter other than E, the ED and ING forms are made just as they would be in grade 2. And we talked about the looked.
Looked, right.
Okay.
Right.
There's another one. If anyone wants to raise a hand and tell us how they think that you would make the word presenting. We learned what present or present would be. So how would you make presenting?
All right. Jeanette?
Dot 4 PSG.
Well, think about the word for a second. Think about the spelling of the word for a second. Does it end in E, first of all?
No.
Okay,
does
so
not.
It does not. So if it doesn't end in E, what do you have to do?
Make it. I guess I get that rule. I couldn't write it down fast enough, and it's not computing. So I'm going to say it has to be the ing.
That's correct. Right. If it has an E, you can drop the E and just add the G or the I or the D. But if it does not end in E, you have to use ing or ed. So you're right. Presenting would have the dot 4 PS ing sign. That would be correct.
So if it does not end in an E or
you
a
have
D,
to use if it does not end in E, you have to use the ing or the ed sign on the end of the word, like look, account,
Account.
book. Yeah. those words all don't end in E. So you have to put the ED or the ING sign after them. If they, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. You're doing great.
If it ends in E, then you can drop the ING or G sign and just use the D, like acknowledged, ACKD, or ACKG, acknowledging, things like that. But that's because that word ends in E.
Okay, now I see what I missed.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure, since you want to make sure that you were straight on that, since you didn't have a chance to get it.
Okay.
In fact, when I took my very last grade 3 exam, I probably would have gotten an A+ had I remembered, or an A at least, instead of an A- had I remembered that particular rule, because I kept screwing that one up. She kept correcting me on that one. So I finally got it through my skull.
Who did you take it from, Nancy? What's
Hadley.
that? The Had
Yeah.
Winifred?
Pam Warts.
Fort?
Pam Schwartz, or
Okay.
Ward,
Yeah.
or Ward, Pamela Ward.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of her last name, but
Bortz, Bortz. I
Bortz,
think
that's
is-
right. That's right.
I had her
That
for
sounds-
English in high school.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Okay, so that's the end of the rules, but there are some exercises in the Hadley book that I'd like to go over, since these rules are a little bit messy. So we'll go over a couple, and let's see. I'm just going to throw some words out, and we will talk about how they'd be written. So we'll take some hands for a couple, and then a couple Nancy and I can just explain. How would you write the word, let's see, indistinct? Indistinct.
All right. Hannah.
I'm just going to take a guess at it. I'm going to guess IN sign, the DIS sign, that's 256. T, IN sign, CT.
Yes, I believe you're right.
Indistinct. Well, there's an ST sign, isn't there, in there? Distinct.
But the DIS,
Oh,
takes care of
indistinct.
that.
Yeah, TINCT. Yeah. The okay.
Indistinct. Yeah.
Distinct. Yep.
So
So
that
DIS
goes
would come first, right?
yes, and that goes off of rule number 1. That's what I was going to add about those signs that can come in the middle. So we have the COM, CON, DIS, and I gotta look at it to clarify. Yeah, BE. So the contractions for BE, CON, DIS, and COM may be used as a second syllable, provided that the first syllable is expressed by a lower sign or by a one-cell initial sign. So if there's a lower sign, we can use, so we have that in as our lower sign, the IN, then we can use the DIS indistinct and write it all together with those two lower signs right in the beginning. So that ties off of rule number 1. How would you write, let's see, signing, like you're signing a document. It's an easy one.
All right. Ralph.
Enter Zoom webinar. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
SGNG.
Well, think about the word sign for a second. Does it end in E, first of all?
That's true. Okay. SGNING.
Very good. Excellent.
You're right. Hey, I'm learning.
Oh yeah,
No, you're
are.
good.
Yeah, you're good. Just remember when you look at a word and you think about that G or the ing, always ask yourself, does it end in E or not?
Gotcha.
And then you remember the rule with an E. So that's why I wasn't trying to criticize or anything. I was just trying to help get you to think, does it end in E
Gotcha. Thank you.
or does it? You're welcome.
Okay, I think Mary has a question. Mary, you can unmute.
Okay, my question is, I guess about the first rule with the BE, CON, COM, and DIS.
Okay.
You said that can be used as the second syllable if there's a lower cell sign before it, like in indistinct. And then y'all said something about a one cell something. I couldn't keep up to write it down. So I'm not sure what that part means.
Okay. There is a one cell initial sign. Okay. Trying to figure out which. Okay. The contractions for BCOM, dis, and com may be used as a second syllable only if the first syllable is made using a lower sign or a one cell initial sign. So like the one cell initial sign in like indistinct would be the IN. That's a one cell initial sign, and distinct, the DIS, can be used as a second syllable because it's next to one of those signs.
Okay.
Does that make
So,
sense?
Am I right that where they're saying the lower sign or the initial sign, the one cell initial sign, they're kind of synonymous the way
That's
they're
what I
wording that?
thought.
Yeah.
Oh,
because
maybe
the
that's
first
the
syllable,
case.
yeah, if the first syllable is on the second syllable, only if the first syllable is made using a lower sign or a one cell initial sign. Yes, so either one.
Okay. I got it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Like in a word like disbelief, you would be able to have the DIS sign written right next to the BE sign because DIS is a lower sign at that point. So the BE can be used as it is the second syllable and it can be written next to that lower sign.
Yeah.
So that's how. Does that make sense?
Ralph has a hand up.
Okay, Ralph has his hand up.
Okay.
Okay, you were saying like disbelief, DISBELIEF, right?
Right.
So you would still use the DIS sign with that?
Correct.
And then the BE sign?
Correct.
Okay. All right, thanks.
You bet. And those would be written right next to each other. And then BE and then the LIEF. And then that will be, and of course, that word will be shortened later too. So
Yeah. How would you write? Let's see. This one, I'll give you an easy one. How would you write answerable? Answerable.
Anybody?
anybody want to brave
All
it?
right. Jeanette?
I'm thinking it would be ANSBLE sign.
Is that how
You
you would
pro-
do it? Yeah.
you probably could do it that way because there is a rule later on that lets you take out an A as a single syllable if the rest of the word is recognizable. I mean, for now, let's just leave the A there. Answerable, ANSABLE sign,
Hmm.
just to, because we haven't really got to that rule yet, and we shouldn't really use a rule till we till we get there.
I'm wondering now, agreeable, they have it written
Yeah.
as
They do.
AGRBLE
Yeah,
sign.
well, see, I would agree that answerable could be used as ANSBLE sign. I just didn't want to confuse everybody because that rule, I mean, you can't do that. You can't take the A out of everything just because you can take it out of some things. So that would be the thing to remember is that. But the word answerable, it's defined very well before you get to the A syllables. So yes, you could write it ANSBLE sign.
Okay, yeah. Go ahead, Ralph.
Let's see. I think Ralph, I think you might have a question, and I think. Ralph, you can unmute.
Enter audio now unmuted. Zoom webinar. Okay, this is to muddy the water, but you got the diphthongs. Like if you agreeable, how does that work? Because you got the EA there for the diphthong. So
Well,
is
first of all, the word agree is already short formed to AGR.
okay.
So you don't have to worry about the
Okay.
diphthong in that, and we will get into diphthongs later on.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. It's a good question, but in this configuration, agree is already assigned a word, a short
Okay.
form.
Yeah.
So you just have to put the BLE on the end of it, agreeable, and there you are.
Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, how would you write? Let's see. Some of these I'm debating on. We can talk this one through. Noteworthy. Noteworthy.
Ooh.
Does anyone want to give it a shot?
Guess not.
I don't know if they have that one.
Oh.
They don't.
Where's that,
Kathy.
someone?
Kathy?
There we go. Okay. Oh, noteworthy. I'm gonna
Yeah.
guess. I'll probably slaughter it, but I'm gonna guess NTWORTH sign Y.
Well, now that's what I'm gonna research here because the TE sign.
That's what I wondered. Is that a?
Oh, I forgot about the
Could
TE
that
sign.
be?
I knew
Yeah,
I'd
that's
screw it
what
up.
I'm just looking real quick to see if that's just the middle of a word, because that could be okay. See, okay, so here we have that. I'm just looking up something very quickly because that
I wish Hadley gave the answer key in this book.
and middle. Okay. Yeah, the TE sign is at the end of a word. So I'm thinking in the middle, you may not be able to use that because it's TE is medial, or is not medial, it's only terminal. So noteworthy. I'm thinking you'd have to write it out NOTE WORTHY, just because of the fact that TE sign is terminal only. And that would put it in the middle of the word. That would be my thinking on that.
Yeah, that's what
Gotcha.
I would write it as is.
Yeah. In that
point.
particular instance, I would.
Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, I think Jessica has a question. Jessica, you can unmute.
You're right. I wish they had the answer key.
Hi, guys.
Hello.
Yes, I do have a question.
Go ahead.
I've known Braille for years, and I did not know there was a TE sign.
That's because it's only used in grade 3.
Really? How do you
Yeah.
make it?
3-5, the lower J, 3-5-6.
6.
And you said it can occur in the middle of a word or no?
It cannot. It's only a terminal. It's
Which
only
means
at the end.
what?
At
What
the
does
end
that
of the
mean?
word. At the end of a word.
What about at the beginning?
No.
No.
So TE at the beginning of a word would not be used like that.
Like, for example, the word either text or testing. So TEXT or
No.
TESTING.
Right. TE, that would be right. You would write the TE out at that point. It only becomes that TE sign at the end of a word.
Interesting.
Yeah. Grade 3 just adds a whole bunch of new little goodies to what you already know.
Yeah,
from
because I'm super familiar with grade 2. I've known
Oh,
grade
yeah.
2 since forever.
Oh yeah, and that's a good thing that you know it well, because grade 3 just keeps adding layers and layers and layers and just expands on what you do know. So that's a prerequisite, is to know grade 2 really well. So that's good.
All right, Mary has a question.
Yes, I was wondering, in the word noteworthy, couldn't you still omit the O, since in both the short form words for note and notes omitted the O?
No, because in that particular situation, you would be doing what we call outlining words. You'd be outlining that word, and that vowel, that long O, could not be omitted at that point. The fact that the short form for note and notes is already established. So
Oh, that's what makes it okay to omit the O, because it was like that word that Ralph was talking about a while ago, that that's what makes it, you have to have the O, because it's not a short form of note.
right. It's the O is one of those vowels that as you get into outlining words and stuff, you'll see that it is not okay to omit a long O like that.
Right. Okay. That makes sense. Thank you.
Sure.
All right. Area code 407. You can unmute. *6.
Okay, I tried to do it too quickly. I have a couple questions. Is there
Okay.
any kind of again, looking at this noteworthy, is there any kind of a short form for worth, like WRTH? Does that
No.
occur at all, or?
No, because
Okay.
WRTH would actually, if you just saw the word WRTH by itself, it would actually be the word wrath. So
Oh, well, sorry about that. I didn't mean to
no, you're
confuse
fine.
the issue.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Okay.
But
I
it would actually be-
want to go back. I'm still a little bit stuck on this first rule that you went over.
Okay.
Were there were 3, I believe, that you talked about that could be used in the middle. I think you said what, COM?
There's 4 of them.
DIS,
COM and
there were
CON.
4.
COM and CON.
CON was one of them also.
Right.
Okay.
DIS and BE. The BE sign, the DIS sign, the COM sign, and the CON sign, those are all what we call lower signs because they're in the lower part of the
Right.
cell. So
Right.
those 4 lower
Um,
signs can be used in that way. Yes.
Can be used after initial signs,
Right.
initial one
Or
letter
other
or
lower
one letter
signs.
initial.
Or other lower signs like disbelief. There's 2 of those signs in that word. So those 2 signs could be used together because of that rule. Yes.
Okay, what would be the difference? Give me an example of the difference between an initial sign and a lower letter sign. What initial sign would not be a lower letter sign
Uh,
that you're thinking of, since it talks about
the only
initial
one,
signs or lower letter signs?
yeah, initial.
What would be an initial sign that wouldn't
Okay,
be a lower letter
one
sign?
cell initial signs. So that would be like, well, okay, like IN, but that's also lower.
Right.
So,
That's why I'm not coming up.
and the thing is,
Would it be like an ER? Well, you would like an ER sign?
no, that's
But I
not
can't
initial.
think of where
That's
you
not,
would use
that's not,
that.
okay, that's not like a, one cell.
What would be? That's what I can't comprehend in my mind or come up with something that's an initial.
Like, okay, you haven't really learned some of these yet, but like UN, there's a sign for UN. That would be an initial sign.
Oh, we did
Okay,
like,
so you're talking about
yeah, we
grade
did touch on that.
3 in particular
3, 4,
signs.
6.
Okay.
3, 4, right? Okay, yeah. So that's correct. That is the sign for UN. So, and then like
Okay. I don't want to
OU,
confuse. I don't want to
things like
confuse
that.
the issue anymore for the moment. But I couldn't come up with my, in my mind what would be an initial letter sign. So I know you're going to go into that more later. So that makes a little more sense now. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
You're sure. You're welcome.
Yeah, there's only
Okay.
a few initial signs, but they're all one-celled. So when we do get to that, that'll make more sense.
Yeah, I love how they confuse things. See, I would have done this totally differently than they did a little bit, just because of the way they mention things that seemed you haven't learned yet. It's like, wait a minute, they don't know this yet.
Yeah, they're gonna wonder.
Yeah, don't confuse them. Okay. Do we have any more hands, or Kristen, do we have any more words that we can?
Let's talk about, this should be an easy one, values.
Well, no, that's interesting because, yeah.
Because we know the sign for value is VL. And we know that, like with the word notes, this is a terminal sign, but we have not learned it yet except for the word notes. We know that Z makes the ES. So I won't give it away. I'll let people.
All right, Ralph.
Would it be VLZ?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so
That
I
would
kind of
be it.
handed it to you on a
Yeah,
silver
but
platter.
but that makes sense. I actually understand that.
Yep, you're right.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's
You're
see.
good.
What about membership? Membership.
Okay, Ralph.
Okay. MMSHP. And now lower.
Yes, actually. Yeah, well, actually, you probably would want to put the I there just simply because.
But if I were reading it though, I'd say membership. So I would know that.
Membership. Yeah, I'm going to have to. Yeah, membership. What do you think on that one, Kristen? Because there is the rule about the short vowels later.
I think later we will write it as MMSHP. because outlining,
Right. That's what I was thinking, outlining again.
Okay.
That's what I say. They put so many things that you guys don't know yet. And it's like, that's not fair.
Initially, you were saying you have to, it has to make sense for
Right.
you're reading it. And see, to me, that would make sense.
it
whether
would.
it's gotten that far.
Yeah, it would make sense to me too. I just want to keep congruent with what's going on. But yeah,
Okay.
that would make sense. In the long run, that is in the long run, that is going to be how we end up writing it.
Yeah.
But it's
This one we won't use very often. Oh, go ahead, we have a hand.
All right. Jeanette.
So I don't know how to ask this. The grade 3 Braille book. You ladies and gentlemen are teaching from the Hadley book.
right.
And I am assuming that they wrote that book. It is not the grade 3 Braille book that you have recommended that we get from the library.
Correct.
Would I be correct about that? Okay.
Yes, that's correct.
So now here is my question. Do the lessons essentially go in the same, like with essentially the same information?
Yeah, the same information is all there. And in each of the 2 Braille books that we have the resources beyond the Hadley, those 2 books present them differently, but all the information is there. It's just presented in a different way. It might not be presented exactly the same way, but it is all there.
Okay.
Yeah, and I have a Braille copy of I have both of them, but I like the
I do
key to
too,
grade
but
3.
I do too. I just have, they're just, yeah, the key to grade 3 is laid out in kind of a little bit more of a lesson format type.
Yeah, and this one, I chose the Hadley book because it breaks it down a little more, like outlining. It explains it very nicely. And the abbreviations, it broke those down into chunks, which I liked.
Wish we could get it.
Yeah, I know. I wish we could too.
There's a way we can. And
Really?
here's how I figure. When we're done with this course, I'm going to send my copy that I'm touching right now to Catherine Thomas.
Oh, that's what I wondered. Yeah.
She can electronically scan it and make everyone either a BRF or a hard copy of this book.
Cool.
No, I would like that too. I just wish I could get my silly technology to work and so I could read my BRF files.
Yeah, this one, again, Catherine will have to rip it to shreds, but we will hopefully, I trust her, we will get an electronic and a hard copy. I'm going to ask for both because she can do either.
Wow.
But let's do a couple more words and then I'll tell you how to study and get some more resources. So, injustice. Injustice.
All right, Hannah. Hannah?
Oh, I think it might be IN sign J dots 36.
Very good.
Yeah.
Is it okay to ask a question?
Good job. Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
I happen to have the key to grade 3 in my lap right now. What rules did we cover tonight? I know it was 1 and which.
I don't know. They're probably not numbered the same way as far as, but the one cell, the additions to short form words.
Okay, I can look it up later.
And that's that's basically the section of rules that we've been going over.
And if some people feel like I really didn't get it, I couldn't keep up, you can email me, and I have a BRF that I've written out of these rules.
Okay, we've got 10 minutes and we have a raised hand.
All right.
Area code 720. You can unmute. There you go.
Yeah, this is Keisha, and I'm a little confused about. Didn't you say the lower signs you can use together or something? If I understand that right.
Yes.
So, like, if you had injustice, does that have a lower sign after the, or can you still use that?
Well, injustice, all it does is put the initial IN sign in front of the word justice. So that doesn't have a lower sign in it. Injustice, I mean, the IN sign is a lower sign, but it's called a one cell initial sign is basically how they refer to IN.
Oh,
I don't know if that answers your question. I'm not sure if that's exactly what you're trying to ask, but injustice is not a word with a lower sign after the one cell initial sign. It just, because the J is in the top part of the cell.
I was just thinking that you couldn't. I was just thinking that if you could use the lower sign, if and maybe I was confusing with the grade 2. If the following has a lower dot or
if the following sign
lower cells.
Yeah. Well, that's only if. Okay, I'm not sure exactly what you're asking, but if the next sign is a lower sign, you can put it together as a second syllable. But you couldn't just put the IN sign in front of anything. No, there's certain things you can put it in front of and certain things you cannot put it in front of. So you can't just put the IN sign in front of anything. No. If I'm not sure if that's what you're getting at.
Okay.
If that's what you're asking.
Yeah, that's. I think that answers my question there.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, area code 407.
Okay, I know you said there was one book you guys liked better of the two. Would you remind me which one of the ones that you were recommending of those two? There was a key, I think.
Key to grade 3 Braille was the one. Right, a key to grade 3 is the one that Kristen mentioned.
A
key to grade 3 is the one. Yes. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, we'll do two more. Do we have any more hands?
Nope.
Or should we? Okay.
I'm good.
Let's do what should be an easy one. Inconsiderate. A lot of people are inconsiderate sometimes.
You should never be inconsiderate. We should always be the opposite of inconsiderate.
Yeah.
Anyone?
It has to do with rule 1.
Mm-hmm. All right, Jeanette.
I'm going to say IN sign, CON sign, SIDERA, and then lower J.
Hey.
Wow,
good
yeah.
Job. Good job. Yep. Yep. Inconsiderate.
Okay,
Yes.
so
Yep.
we'll do one more. And this one I'm wondering on. It's Homemaker.
Okay, let me think about that one for a second. That's just HOMEMAKER, right? Am I?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, I know what I would do, but okay. Let's see what
Oops. All right, Ralph. You can unmute.
I bet you guys are getting tired of
Not quite.
H-M-E-M-K-E-R.
That's the way I would do it. Yeah.
H-M-E-M-K-E-R.
Yeah. Homemaker.
And the reason for dropping that A, you're just outlining.
It's outlining. Yeah. It follows it follows the outlining rules.
So again, yeah, a
But-
one that's a little bit too soon to be.
Yeah, it is. But that
Using them.
is, he's right. That is the way it would end up being. Yep.
And this one, we'll do one more. This has to do with rule 3, helping.
Mhm.
I know.
Yes, I'm sure you do. If nobody puts their hand up, we'll let you answer.
Oh, they will.
Helping. Help. I need somebody. Help.
Hannah.
I was actually raising my hand to ask a question, but if it's okay,
Oh.
I'll
Yeah, go
answer
ahead.
this one.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay. Which one was I supposed to answer, the question or ask?
Yeah.
Answer
Either.
it and then ask it.
And yeah, answer the question, then ask yours.
Okay. Helping, I'm going to guess, is H-L-P-I-N-G sign.
Very good.
And
Excellent.
my question is about Homemaker. I was distracted by something. Was it H-M-E-M-K-E-R sign or M?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So the A is taken out. It's
That's
outlined.
correct. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so we just have about 3 minutes left. And if you need any clarification on these rules and you want a written response or you want clarification over the phone, please email Nancy at THESONGMAGE@yahoo.com. If you would like a BRF of the rules and you think you missed something, or you'd like a reference of what we went over tonight, email me at Braille, BRAILLE, mailbox at gmail.com. And as I said at the beginning, we will be uploading this lesson to YouTube. So by Saturday morning, you can look under the channel grade 3, the numeral 3, Braille spelled out. And please subscribe to that channel if you do find it. And you will find our lessons all in one place. And before we take a hand, I'm just going to go over a little housekeeping since we are on an ACB community call. And we've had as many as 55 participants, which is wonderful. But when you do raise your hand, if you could just please make sure, if you can, that the TV is muted, that you don't have the radio on, that you're not on the phone or someone's behind you talking. Just try to get to a quiet place because we do put these on YouTube and I don't take the time to edit these. It would be quite a bit of work to edit out every little thing. So just a little housekeeping, but we'll let one more hand go.
Hey, Ralph.
Kristen, with your permission, I hope you will allow me to place the information about these Braille grade 3 calls in our BRL memorandum. You know, we meet every Thursday night at 8 and so forth.
Oh yeah, I would love that. That would be wonderful.
And I put the Zoom link in there as well. So
Yeah,
I'm assuming it will stay the same.
It will.
Okay.
Yes.
And I'd like to put out a request for help. If anybody is really good at reading BRF files on their iPhone, I'd love to talk to you. So please reach out to me if you're good at that, because I'd love to learn from you. All right. Thank you guys so much for allowing me to work with you guys tonight. It's been fun. See you next week.
Thank you, Nancy.
Thanks.
You bet.
And we will be back next week with outlining. We're starting into outlining done by Bob. So please join us.
Yeah.
All right.
Yay.
All right,
What-
have a good night, everyone.
Yeah, I hear that.